Woo.
Hello. Hi, friends. I'm joined with some other friends here today to do some reading together. That is the plan for our Saturdays, evenings, afternoons, mornings. I don't know if it's morning anywhere, but
Well, not here.
wherever you're reading.
It's noon, barely afternoon for me.
It's
Just
here.
into the afternoon. So what's everyone planning to read? I'm reading An Echo of Things to Come. I am nearly 500 pages in, and it's just over 700 pages. So I'm hoping to make some good progress in this.
Nice. I'm on page 730 of Midnight Tides, which is the 5th Malazan book. So I think I have 190 pages left. I don't know. My Kindle says I have 3 hours left.
Wow.
No, yeah. So this one I immersion read with the audiobook, and I physically read. So when it gets to ponderous and reflecty, I'm just like, okay, this is I don't care.
So you don't read for the themes?
Well, some of the themes in this book in particular, it's just very on the nose. It's very like, okay, I see what we're saying. You're saying it a lot. As I see it. I hear you. Capitalism bad. Got it. Kind of like it's yeah. I don't know.
But you're reaching the end point now. You're in the final stretch.
Yeah, no, so it's split into 4 parts, and I just started part 4. And normally the 4th part, they call it a convergence for Malazan books. You know how it's a Sanderland? They call them convergences, where all of your threads come together. I'm like, okay. In one book, he said the word convergence a lot in the 4th part, and so I'm wondering if that's why it happened.
Maybe.
So, yeah.
Love it.
I just finished my book that I was reading, so I'm going to start a new one in these sprints, and I'm going to start my reread of Daughter of Smoke and Bone for.
Exciting!
So yeah.
Oh, you have the hardcover of it.
I have the original ones from 2012.
No, that's awesome.
I first read it when it came out, and then I reread it 9 years later to finish, and then now it's 3 years after that, or something like that, or it was 6 years, and now it's 3 years later. It's something ridiculous. So
I didn't realize they were that old.
yeah, this one came out, I think, in 2012 or 2013 or something like that. 2011.
Damn, crazy.
11.
Oh,
I think I read them 2014, 2015, just as the 3rd book came out.
Yeah.
So it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's my 3rd time reading this one. So
one day you will finish those books, Joanna.
This year.
awesome. Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest. I am very indecisive about what I'm going to read at this moment because I'm currently in the middle of 3 books. So maybe you guys can help me.
But one of them is Master of Sorrows.
Warbreaker. It's actually not Master of Sorrows yet. That's for February. But Warbreaker, I am reading this one. It's the Cosmere Unbounded one. I'm 100 pages into it. So far, I'm liking it. I like Sanderson, so that's not really surprising. I'm also reading The Grace of Kings, and I think I'm about 100 pages into this one too. And this is for my channel read along. I need to finish it this weekend, but I didn't have the best mental health this last few days. So I started Zodiac Academy in order to just have a fluffy nothing read to do, And so those are my 3 that I have going right now. And I don't know which one I'm going to read. I'll decide as we go.
You could do 1 book per sprint.
Ooh, I could do that. That'd be fun.
And you could see how fast you read, because which one reads faster,
Yeah. I'm guessing it's going to be Zodiac Academy or Warbreaker. I feel like those go much quicker.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how slow the beginning of Warbreaker is. I don't think it's that slow, but it's also, it's a Sanderson book, which I think everyone doesn't know that his books are meandering or slow till they read them, because everyone talks about how fast the endings are.
Yeah. I actually really like the beginnings of his books. I like how hey, Monet. I like how he kind of eases us into the world and gets us attached to the characters, and then it's just bam.
Yeah.
Evie, you're reading more Kendo stories?
She got the other collection. She cannot wait for me, and it's okay. I have that collection too. I bought it the other week. So
Ooh,
Autumn
an Autumn War.
Yes, I want to read
I
that.
finished my reread of Crescent City yesterday, and
I saw that on your story.
I just loved it.
It's so
It was
good,
just-
isn't it?
I was listening to it whilst I went for my lunchtime run yesterday, and I was like, it was right at the ending, so it was very climactic, and I was like trying to keep running whilst also feeling very like all the emotions, and it was just a bit much. I don't know if it was a very wise decision to be. Well, maybe it was. I don't know if I was like maybe it helped me with my run. I don't know.
I was about to say,
but
there's
it
a lot
felt
of
like a
running.
very energetic moment.
I need
Do
to
you work
reread
from
that.
home still then? So you go running?
I've been going into the office one day a week.
Oh,
currently.
okay.
It's like the office is open. If you want to use it, you can, or you can stay at home. So
Yeah, that's how my husband's work is. But mine, I can work from home one day a week. And then other than that, I have to go in.
Oh, Stranger Things.
Nice.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm excited to pick that up.
Me too.
I'm doing just a read along on my channel, like one a month. And the first one isn't too bad, but dang, have you seen the second one?
they get big.
It gets thick. I'm like, ooh. Defensive baking.
I've seen that one around.
That's so funny.
Well, now you just get to start a new one.
That's true.
I love that
Yeah,
book.
Ken Liu is really big right now.
I mean,
I
the
read
fourth
that
book
this
just
month.
came out, right?
The
Or
fourth
is
book in the Grace of Kings. you
Or is
mean?
it coming out in like 2 months?
It comes
or-
out in a couple
June.
months, I think. Yeah. So January, February. I think it comes out in April, or that's when
What's
it was scheduled for. I don't know if they changed it. They've been changing a lot of release dates lately, I feel like. So
That's true.
Well, paper and stuff.
Yep.
What's
Yeah.
the name?
I
of
was
this?
thinking of, because I feel like it was June that the fourth one was coming out. So I was thinking, we were talking to Joanna about reading the first one in April, and then May, June, and then the fourth one. Because I was
It's
told that
April
with the third and the fourth, that because it was meant to be one book that got split into two, it's best to read them. Well, the third one doesn't have a satisfying ending. So it would be better to have them more back to back.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's us too.
It looks like it comes out currently April 14th.
Yeah. That's what I thought the release date was. But they definitely could push it back. I know a lot of things are getting pushed back in publishing right now, which stinks, but
Ooh, actually, I just found a June 21st, so let's assume with the later one.
yeah. Dang, that stinks.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
That's nice that they
Yeah,
at least
like
let
that.
you have the digital when it's ready. Here, they like the I'm looking at the digital date on Amazon for US, and it's not coming out till June 21st. So
No, you're right. It has been pushed back because when I originally planned the read along, the fourth book would come out the last month
well,
of it.
you'll just have to
Apparently
simmer.
not anymore. Oh well. Have to push
Now
it
you can
back.
just take 2 months a book. You can just spread it out. They're big. They're chunky. Just take 2 months
That's
a book.
true. They are big. I mean, this is the smallest one, and it's not that small.
No, it's not that small.
Well, that way you don't have to rush to finish it this weekend if you're not in the mood. Obviously, if you're in the mood, go for it.
Right. I don't know. I feel like my moods have really dictated my reading a lot lately, unfortunately. But I did binge Malice.
You binged it.
I did. I'm done.
Was it a positive binge?
Yes, it was a positive binge. I
Did you
loved
not
the
stop
ending.
watching? Did
Oh
you,
my
Angela? I'm
gosh.
so scared.
Yeah, no, I was scared because I know Angela sort of binged it, but it wasn't so much of a positive binge. It was a
Mhm.
lukewarm binge.
Oh no.
I did binge it.
It is very.
I mean, I don't actually hate it. I think actually I was really proud of my review because when I finished the book, I had a lot more rage. I was a lot more negative right after finishing it, and I waited a week to film my review, and then I was much more like tempered.
Mhm.
I'll
I
have
was
to go
much
watch
more
that
able
review now that
to
I've
talk
read it.
about the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like, versus like right when I finished, I was really annoyed.
I'm happy with myself that I left a good amount of time before I filmed my June review. That when I finished it, I was really annoyed, and then I was like, going to film the review, and I was going to rant, and then I was like, no, we're going to be calm and collected, and way too much.
Wait, what's everyone ranting about? I actually enjoyed the ending. Did you guys not like the ending?
No,
No,
she's
she's
talking about
Dune.
Dune.
I was talking about Dune. Malice I loved.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Malice
Wait
didn't like
a
the
second,
ending
what
of
am I
Malice.
missing?
I don't think there was anything wrong with the ending. I think I was just being like, well, this is fine, but everyone says the ending's great, so I'm going to have this huge payoff, and I didn't have any payoff. And then I looked, I'm like, I read 650 pages of fine, and then they did this thing to this character, and I'm like, the use of this one character I just disliked on so many levels. It was Corbin's sister. I really didn't like how she was used in the first book, like at all.
That makes sense.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then there was, so there's two arcs. There's the one with Corbin, and then there's the other one. And whatever was happening with the other one, I thought was kind of boring. And then again, something happened to one of those characters. And I'm like, well, then what was the point? So I got annoyed.
Well, Stephanie, I'm glad you're team Abby Joanna and you loved
Yeah,
it.
Ari,
I
I
did
did
like
love
if you love Malice, I think you're gonna love the rest.
Okay, I did love Malice. I felt like it wasn't a 5-star quite. Like it was a 4-star book
That makes sense.
for me, but the ending was great and got me really pulled in. And so I've heard, and this is fair for Angela, that if you loved the ending of Malice, you're probably gonna love the rest of the books.
I mean,
if
I'm
you
going
loved
to keep
how it
reading
all
because
started coming together.
I like the main character a lot. Like, I think he's
Corbin.
fun. But so I'm going to read Valor and hope that that's better.
I'd say
we'll
if
see.
you still feel lukewarm after Valor, then the series won't
I
be
probably
for you.
will. I mean, I would keep reading it if they were shorter books. And they're quick reads, but they're still like, I mean, I still spent like 14 hours reading a book. Like, it was-
Oh yeah, I mean they're not small. Like their page count isn't as long, but their pages are huge. I swear. Like, look at this paperback. It is.
You have the big
large.
one, yeah.
No, yeah, they have the smaller ones in the UK. Theirs aren't as tall.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love the big one actually.
Yeah.
I really like it. I don't want this.
And the thing is, though, with the UK paperbacks, they're a normal size paperback, but the spines on them, my spines are just completely cracked because
Are you not floppy?
No, they're not floppy.
Oh, mine are
What?
floppy. But they're
These
the
ones
UK
are
ones.
so floppy.
Wait, mine are super floppy.
Maybe
Yeah.
you have the US ones. Because
No,
the
I have
UK
the
ones are
small ones.
because even just Shauna had the UK ones and hers were really
Right.
tightly bound too.
Now I need to know.
Yeah, it is. I think it is the US ones.
Well, the
Yeah,
US ones
first
are the
US
tall ones.
edition.
Orbit only does the tall paperbacks for the US. Those do
Mine
not
are the
exist.
short ones.
Well, now I'm gonna have to
Okay,
get.
Malice is
Oh.
not, but I think Valor
Oh.
is floppy. Look at this. Like Valor
Well,
is
Yeah, I definitely have the US one.
Well, you've got a special Valor because my Valor is not
Owen
floppy.
is super floppy, and then Wrath is also very floppy. Whoa, very floppy.
Well,
I think also a thing that I don't think would bother people unless you noticed it, but about at the 15th time he used the word Wayne instead of wagon, I'm like, why? Why? It's just a wagon.
He used a lot of terms that weren't familiar to us. I'm pretty sure they're like Welsh or something.
Some are Old English. I was looking them up because then there's another one for kid. That
Bear.
one you could get from context clues, though. Wayne, I couldn't get from context clues. I had to
Well,
look it
and
up.
he uses different word for like plate too when they're going to get their food. I think he calls
The
it like a
things that are
trough or something.
supposed
I'm
to
like,
be
what are
like-
we, cows? Like what?
No, I mean, I'm actually excited to read the second book, but I was like, I think I was just unprepared
Look at
for
this
how
there.
unpolished the writing was in the first book. So
okay. So, shall we go for our first sprint and let Stephanie decide what she's going to read?
Yes,
Yeah.
let's.
Okay.
How 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Cool. So that will be sprint until not 40. 45. Hello. I didn't know how like quiet or loud to make that hello. I didn't feel like it's a hard balance with disturbing people when they're reading.
I sometimes I'll join people's reading sprints during the week and work on my like dissertation, so I don't even have like the screen on, and then suddenly I'll hear someone talking. I'm like, oh, I forgot I had like a thing.
Because like some people have like a timer that might go off. And it's a hard balance to have the like rude awakening from the reading to having it too subtle that nobody hears you. And how was everyone's reading?
It's good.
What did you go with, Stephanie?
I ended up reading The Grace of Kings. It's good. I do enjoy it. It's definitely a different writing style, though. I like it, but it's different than things that I've read before. So it's kind of like, you know how you get very used to the feel of like when you've read like 5 Brandon Sanderson books, or even the feel of like Malice, his writing style. It's a familiar one. I don't know. I feel like this one's it's quite a bit different. I do like it though.
Nice.
How far in are you?
Oh, only like 100 and a little bit. So not really too far.
Well,
did you like it? Tell me your thoughts. Am I gonna, because right now I'm not too terribly invested. Like I am, but I've heard that it gets better. So it'll be a minute before she answers.
I'm sorry your reading's a chore, Evie. Maybe you should just not read the book.
I was gonna say, why are you reading it if you don't like it?
I think she's buddy reading it because it's a short story collection, and I know
Oh,
I think Leslie's been reading that same collection. At least Leslie talked about that short story this week in her video. So, yeah, I agree though. I've read 3 or 4 Stephen King, and every time I'm like, why are you using 10 words when you could use 4? Like he does that, but it's like every sentence.
It's
Oh.
true. So
I didn't. I'm midway into my chapter.
I did not finish my chapter.
I literally have like 4 paragraphs left in my chapter, but I heard Abby talking. I'm like, oh dang, I gotta get going.
These
I was like,
chapters
oh, we've got quite a few minutes of reading here before I get to the end of the chapter.
Yeah. I mean, I had already started before. If I had waited to start my chapter at sprints, I might have, because I finished one and started another, but they're like 35, 25-minute chapters in this book. So it's just.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Oh, what?
I liked it. First half is hard to get through once you get past it. Okay. So, I mean, I really do like this first half, but it's not a fast read by any means. Like, I'm about as far into this one as I am in Warbreaker. And I feel like Warbreaker feels like it took about 5 minutes, and this one feels like it took about like an hour comparatively, right? So it just like feels like it's going a lot slower.
I'm curious what I'll think about it, just because like Abby and I have read The Paper Menagerie, and I feel like he does have a consistent way he writes, and I really liked it in the short stories. So we shall see.
I do
I felt
enjoy it, but it's slow.
I felt like over those stories, like some of them were written, some were very poetic, and some of them weren't so poetic.
See, I never noticed that when I read. I wish I did, because like sometimes when you guys are talking about some of the stories having descriptive writing, I never clocked it. And I think that's where it is for me. Like his flow is consistent. So if he chooses to add in extra words, I don't notice, because the way he is introducing ideas is a similar flow. Does that make sense? I don't know. Ooh, Empire of Gold.
Oh yeah, Empire of
Poppy
Gold.
War. I love the Poppy War, but I feel like, did any of you have all of you read the Poppy War trilogy?
Abby and I have very similar thoughts.
Okay, did anyone like the 3rd book?
I like it less now. That I think when I read it, I gave it 5 stars, but it was like a yay, I finished this. You know, like I was on a high. But then now the time has passed, I'm like, yeah, actually.
Empire of
had
Gold,
that
though,
feeling.
that's an excellent conclusion.
Empire
I
of Gold. I need to read that trilogy. Like, it's ridiculous at this
Ooh,
point. Like,
so good.
what am I even doing?
I
Fool's
need to
Errand.
pick up-
Oh my gosh. I love that series so much. That's my favorite Realm of the Elderling series so far.
Yeah, I think I have to hold off starting that one till I decide what I'm doing with Faithful and the Fallen because I can't have like too many fantasy series with 800-page books at once.
Fair, you know.
Have to have some self-control.
I
mean, that
agree.
does make sense.
I just
You are
edited
reading
my-
both Malazan and Wheel of Time at the same time as well.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm reading Winter's Heart next month. That's book 9, Wheel of Time.
Mm,
And this is book 5
still
on
on book
Malazan.
4.
Neither of those series will be finished this year, and I'm cool with it. I only read like it just keeps going, just keeps going forever. I finally will get to the Sanderson Wheel of Time this year, though, and I'm kind of
That is
excited.
exciting.
So
That's yeah. I want to know what you think of that because I know you're a huge Sanderson fan, and so I'm wondering if you like.
we'll see how much he tries to mimic Jordan's writing, and it'll be really interesting. I
Yeah.
never really planned to get this far, but here I am.
I
It
feel like
happens.
I generally hear positive things about the Sanderson entries in the series.
Me too.
And generally, like, I think some people don't agree with everything he does with some of the characters or the arcs, but generally the fan base is happy with the ending they've received.
That's good.
So, yeah,
Oh
Wheel
my
of Time
gosh,
5.
Sophia. I am the worst friend. Sophia and I were supposed to buddy read the 4th one, and I started it that month, and I got like 100 pages in and stopped. And it has been months, and I just have been sitting on this. And Sophia's so nice, and she's like, "Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it." But I'm like, I'm the worst friend.
Well, if I remember right, Shadow Rising's first 100 pages is in one location with all of its characters, and then suddenly they all go their separate ways, and it's a huge transition. It's really confusing.
I'm enjoying it fine, but for some reason, I just can't read it. Like I sit down to read it, and I'm like, nope, can't do it. And I switch to something else. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
I use the audiobooks for that series now. I'm in the middle, literally middle of Great Hunt, and I use the audiobooks.
I like the end of Great Hunt. Well,
Apparently it's
not
really
the
good.
end, but there's a plot point that happens that made the Great Hunt way more interesting to me.
But Rand is so naive. He's so naive. I'm like, dude, isn't this person, doesn't she smell like a fish market to you? She's so fishy. And he's like, nope, she's
What's
so
really
beautiful.
funny is like, so Rand is like 19, I think, or something like that, in a world where people age quickly. But he reads like a young adult, naive protagonist. But if you tell Wheel of Time fans that, they freak out. It's like, he's not a kid. And I'm like, I know, but this is not what adults do.
I legit thought he was like 14, 15 when I was reading it at the first little bit through. And then people were saying, oh, no, he's an adult. I'm like, no, he's not. And I go back and look and I'm like, he is. Whoops.
They're like, everyone's like 19 and 20, but Nynaeve's like 25.
Nynaeve's pretty cool sometimes when she's
I
like
like
chewing people
Nynaeve.
out. I'm like, yeah, I like that.
But
I
I
mean,
feel
I
like
have
the
no
boys.
comment.
Have
I
you
mean,
read
you
any
could
of
like
it?
it, you could not like it. There are cozy qualities to it. Like
Yeah,
the cozy qualities that were in Malice exist in Eye of the World. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, but
I agree.
Eye of the World's like 14, 15 books long.
well,
Like,
that's just the first. I just meant the first
yeah,
book.
Wheel of Time.
Those
sorry.
800 pages.
It's just very long.
It
I
is.
started it in 2019, so yes, it is.
Yes, I
just
agree
don't
with
quite have
Sophia.
that level
like
of
Perrin.
commitment for it. Like,
I like Nynaeve and Perrin the best so far. But then again,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of Great Hunt, so
Perrin's pretty cool. I don't dislike stuff that's done with him, but I don't think he gets particularly interesting stuff at one point, and he's currently been in a particularly not interesting position for a while.
I don't like Matt. Gosh, he's just the most annoying thing that exists in the world.
Every time he's almost off my shit list, he just throws himself right back in. Like every time. I'm like, oh, Rick, are we growing? Are we growing? No.
no.
We were watching the show. Oh, and I
sorry, go
told my husband as we were watching, I'm like, I hate Matt. He's the worst. And we're watching the show. He's like,
In the
he's
show,
not
he's
that bad.
okay. Yeah.
But in the
I mean,
show,
they give
he's
him a
actually
slightly
not that
different
bad.
backstory.
Yeah.
I made a prediction to Sophia about some books, and then like I was like, okay, I have a prediction about certain things, and I went on Andy and Bookborn's live show, and they were talking about book 1, and I just said, okay, here's one of my predictions that I have for a certain character, and then someone in the comments replied to that comment saying I was right, but the problem is this happens in like the last book, so I was like, oh, I know the end game for this character, so now it's like journey before destination, which is fine, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've somehow avoided most major spoilers because if you guys don't know, you cannot Google anything for Wheel of
No.
Time.
Yeah.
You type in a character name and the Google autofill will spoil their plot arc.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. But you. Well, Abby, how about you decide what we're talking about next since we kind of left you in the Wheel of Time?
Yeah, sorry.
I have no comment on this. I've not read the books. I've not watched the show. All these people are just names. Now you're like, Abby, pick a topic. I'm like,
Yes, you're on the spot.
I'm blank.
Wait, how was your book?
Oh, my book. I mean, like, things are happening. It's a very confusing fantasy book in lots of ways. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to try and like wrap your head around, but it's really good.
Nice.
So I guess as I'm now in like the final the final 200 pages of a massive book, it feels like a lot of things are coming together and there's been lots of action and lots of things happening. Earlier when I was reading, I literally stared at the book for ages when something happened. I was like, what?
Nice.
You know when you're like, I have to just put this book down for a second because I need to process that.
Yes.
So it's giving me those emotions.
That's a series I'm always curious about, but when people talk about it, they never talk about the characters, and that makes me really nervous. Because that's obviously not the thing that is grabbing people's attention. It's like plot or world building related. And like, I love characters in fantasy, and I don't even know a character name in that series. I've heard a lot of people talk about it.
I'd say it's the same sort of character work that like John Gwynne has.
But even John Gwynne, I know names. People talk about John Gwynne characters, almost to the point where there's a character that you don't know is a bad guy in Malice that I know is a bad guy because everyone talks about him.
Whoa.
Grappling hook.
You already know he's a bad guy because you finished Malice.
Okay.
But it's when you meet him in Malice, I already knew.
Okay, I already know then. I was like,
yeah,
I've avoided Faithful and the Fallen spoilers so well. Like, I don't watch any videos on them. I like nothing because I don't want to be spoiled.
I haven't been spoiled. Well,
I haven't
I haven't been spoiled. But
I mean, I like all the characters in here. I think they're very interesting. I'm still trying to figure out who's the good guys and who the bad guys are.
yeah, but like, you still haven't told me a name of a character.
Exactly.
Oh, well, but that's because I don't know who the good guys and the bad guys are.
You can like bad guys. We exist in a world where it doesn't matter.
Okay, so I guess like our main character that we meet in the first book is called Davian, and it starts off with him in a school setting with his two other friends called Asher and Weir, and that's the start of it. And then there's I'm going to have a wrap up like yours, Angela, where I've read multiple books that have a similar theme this month of there is this evil presence beyond the wall, and the wall is falling. And this has been a theme across the books that I've read this month.
Nice.
So there is that element coming along and this sort of questy type vibe happening. And then it's multiple perspectives because you end up with the characters separated and they're following different paths.
Okay.
And then there is like a major character that I haven't talked about because he's doesn't come into the first book until like a third of the way in.
Okay.
But I'd say he's a very major character for the progression of the series. But I mean, I'm really liking it, and I do really like the characters that we have.
Nice.
I know my sister's boyfriend has read that entire trilogy and really liked it. So
It's got a lot of elements that I think a lot of fantasy readers would really enjoy. Very classic fantasy tropes and things that you see in quite a few, I guess, sort of medieval inspired fantasy worlds, but with some interesting twists.
nice.
There's like a twist which I know. I was watching Jessie May. She did this for Shelf Space, the first book, and when they were talking about it, they did like a non-spoilers and then the spoiler section, and they had like a buzzword which is a spoiler, but it did entice people in. So if you were after that like buzzword spoiler, you could watch that if if you're not too fussed about it. It's not like a major spoiler. It's just like if you like this buzzword, you might like the series.
Got it.
But I don't want to.
I mean, I was talking to Jade about it, and I think it's on like my list of maybe like right now. I'm reading Faithful and the Fallen because that's the series that I've been hearing about for years, and I'm finally giving it a chance. So I think it's in that category of like my earworm series. So it might be a while, but it's finished at least.
Yeah,
That's true.
Oh, the name of the book. It's the
Shadow of What Was Lost.
Yeah,
It's the first one. They do look really nice when they're all put together.
Mm-hmm.
my book finally is deciding to tell me about the magic system of this world. It's the 5th book, so it's cool. No, it's not that different from reading a Stormlight book. 'Cause let's be honest, does anyone really understand Stormlight?
No.
And we're 4 books
No.
in. So I can't give this book crap for something I love in a different series, but it was very interesting to finally get an info dump. I was like, yes.
It's true.
I had a live show with Jonna and
That's
Jimmy and Jesse this past weekend, and Jesse had to leave after the afterlife part you have, and so she left, and then Jonna and Jimmy were talking about Malazan so much, and I was like, I need to not listen to them because they make me want to start this series, but I can't start it right now. So
I know I have so many commitments. I get that.
That one's just too big as well. Like at least with this, it's a 3-book series that is
yeah.
not that they're long, but there's only 3 of them. There's not 10 of them.
And
I mean,
tomorrow
what
I'm
is nice
posting-
about Malazan that I feel like doesn't get talked about a lot is it's not like a 10-book series. Well, so Wheel of Time, you actually have to read all 14 to figure out the arc of the series. Each book is not a contained arc. I mean, the first couple kind of are, but in general, there are not beginning, middles, and ends. There's a beginning, and then there's a middle, and then an end. Whereas Malazan books are each contained standalones and kind of all companion novels to each other, which is why I can go long periods of time between them. Because like the
that's
first
good
book's
to know.
standalone, but like it's like 10 standalones, except the 9th and 10th are like one book that was split in 2. So like,
Okay.
but so I think that's something where people think of it in terms of other traditional fantasy series where it's like, well, I can't wait for book 5. I'm in a different continent, different characters. It's not related to anything other than it's the same world. And it's not like I'm even confident about what I know about the world. So,
Okay.
so
That
I
makes it
mean,
a bit more approachable, I guess.
well,
that
and I
is good
wasn't
to know.
going to start it. I was like you guys. But then my friends wanted to buddy read it. And guess who's not buddy reading it with me anymore?
They abandoned you.
I love that for you.
Oh my gosh.
So, Stephanie, are you going to keep with Grace of Kings, or are you going to swap to the next book?
Well, I need to finish the chapter at least because like I'm literally like there, and this is the end of the chapter. So I think I might stick with it. Actually, I don't know. So many people are talking about it right now, and I'm really enjoying it. I just like when I'm not in the right headspace, I don't want to read these books because I feel like they're books I would love, and if I go in the wrong headspace, I won't love them, and that's not the book's fault. That's like my fault. So
I did that with the second book in the 5 Warrior Angels last year. I was supposed to buddy read it with Abby and Sam, and then I was like, I'm not in the right headspace for this, so I had to put it down.
And one day you will return to it.
Yes, when the 3rd book comes out, I will read it. But tomorrow I'm posting my series update. I'm ashamed, guys. I'm ashamed at how many series I have ongoing. And so, yeah, that's why I'm like, it's too bad that sometimes I'm in these moods where I'm like, I don't want to continue right now because headspace, blah, blah, blah. But I just need to catch up on series because I have a lot.
I filmed that yesterday.
Yay!
Oh, I'm
My
so
series.
excited to watch these videos.
I
Should we,
mentioned
do,
you and Angela in mine, so
should we do another 30 minutes?
let's do it.
Yeah. Let me just, Sophia, they're related in that it's on the same world, and there are many battles that are interconnected, but you don't see that broader scope till later, and you don't have to for the plots of a story. Like one story is about a civil war, and you're watching that unfold, sort of thing. Like they're all windows into history of this larger history.
Interesting. Cool. Well, see you in 30 minutes. Stephanie, you're ready and waiting this time.
Oh yeah.
Ready to roll.
I ended on a chapter even. I was pretty impressed.
No, so
Once again, I didn't finish on a chapter, but I did end at like a line break. So
Good. Good enough. Oh,
how was those 30 minutes?
good. Yeah.
Making progress?
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like things are moving quickly in this book. Like it's weird how things are move so quickly and we go through so much time, but it still feels like it's a little bit slow. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. I've heard that the first book feels very separated from the other books in this series. That you can honestly like read the first book and then go like a year and read the second book, and it doesn't really matter that much actually, because the first book is quite different than the rest of the books in the series. So we'll see.
Yeah, I watched an interview that he did with Hillary, and he said it's kind of like almost like a prologue, like his way of setting up the world, kind of, you know, like
Yeah.
there's a lore and everything you need to know. Sorry, Abby, you were going to say something.
The thing is that like I hadn't really had anyone talk about it until I guess the end of last year, and now I feel like a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah. That's
Maybe when the
true.
Broken Binding released their fancy editions, I feel like that was when I first started hearing about it.
I think
Yeah.
I go for it.
Well, I was just trying to. I think I'd heard about it from Tammy and Lena primarily for a long time, because then they did their whole read along. Because I knew they had been reading it for years.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I
not
got
Tammy,
it.
but Lena had.
Yeah. I had seen it at the bookstore and been interested in it. And so I feel like I was interested in it for quite a while. And then the Broken Binding special editions came out, and I'm like, okay, this is a sign that I actually need to read this series, because those are so pretty. They're some of my favorite books that I own. Like
They
they're
are so pretty.
I think it's a series that I wasn't that interested in, just because I knew it was more political, historical, low magic fantasy. But then I read Ken Liu's short stories, and I'm like, I need to read more.
I mean,
I got that.
I mean, this is just the normal UK paperback now. Like they're just so pretty. Like I don't even mind that they did the cover change.
I felt
I
bad
love
for my friend Kitty G, who the publisher was nice and sent them all the new covers, but only sent the third one in hardback, and the other two are paperback. They didn't even send it all paperback.
No, that's because they haven't re-released these in hardback, and the third book's only out in hardback. So there isn't like you can't have like matching paperbacks of them all, or
Yeah. I know. I saw that was the UK cover when I was looking through your wish list for Christmas time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm sorry, but that's not that cool. It's not bad. Like, this isn't the worst I've seen, but compared, are you kidding
Especially
me?
like the spines of the UK ones make a picture.
well, I think it's the Broken Binding ones when they have that's the picture on the
Oh no, it was Kitty G's had normal paperbacks, and her spines made a picture. I don't know.
well,
But she just had the normal
because I only have the first one.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yours is floppy, Stephanie.
It's
Right?
true.
This is floppy, relatively.
Yeah, that looks like it's winnowing flame floppy, which I like. I base everything now on the winnowing flame quality of floppiness in the UK.
My Grace of King is not as floppy as my Winnowing Flame ones, though. And I got the same one as you, but...
Yeah, well, we all have the same winnowing flames. We're all united in that.
No, I meant
I know, because
Grace of King.
they don't have like US, UK versions of that one. It's all UK.
Yeah. No, those are so floppy.
It's true.
Everyone seemed to do some solid reading.
Of
Yeah, I actually got
Eldest.
29 pages done, which is really impressive for me, but I am like immersion reading, so the audiobook keeps me going.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But I'm also like taking notes at the same time, because I like to care about myself. So when I'm like, what happened? Because I make spoiler vlogs of these books.
Oh my gosh.
I am immersion reading too, and the audiobook narrator for The Grace of Kings is Michael Kramer.
I saw
I
that.
love it. I love it so much.
I'm so excited for that.
It's good.
I have unpopular Michael Kramer opinions. I love Kate Redding, and I always get bored when Michael Kramer audio narrates The Wheel of
really?
Time
I
or
love
Stormlight.
him.
I don't like his voices for Dalinar or Adolin. I don't like him that much.
I do. Oh, he's one of my favorite narrators.
Me too.
I say it's an unpopular opinion.
Stephen
But that's
Pacey. And
unfortunate
then,
because you like a lot of the series that he narrates.
yeah.
It's so interesting because I struggle to find out, is Kate Redding just a better narrator for me, and that's why the guy parts in Wheel of Time bore me, or is it because the guy parts are just boring and Michael Kramer has to narrate it? I
think part of it is the guy parts are boring. I'm going to be honest. Like, I find Matt's stuff so dull. I like Perrin as a character, but his parts are pretty dull. And Rand is just annoying, so his parts are just annoying. So
What's also interesting is like, so Kate Redding and Michael Kramer are a husband-wife team, but they don't talk to each other about what accents they use for characters. So Elaine is British in one and English and like American in the other, and I'm like,
Also, they don't say the names the same because she really says Moiraine, like really like differently than he says. He says it differently. It's like,
I remember in The Grace of Kings, she said, oh gosh, what's the name? Sadius. She
You mean
says Sadius different than Michael Kramer, like significantly different. So that when it switched to her narrating, I was like, the flip are you talking about? Oh.
yeah. Which is really annoying in Wheel of Time because there are so many M names. So there's Moghedien and Moghedien, but actually they're the same person. They just both say it wrong, but they pronounce it different enough that it has a different spelling. And it's,
Oh, that's annoying.
yeah, it's pretty bad when you only have it.
Angela, have you only really had Michael Kramer for the Wheel of Time books, or have you?
I did it for the Oathbringer as well, which I didn't mind Oathbringer, but I just remembered being like really jarred, mainly because like I've read Stormlight so many times and I have my own voices for people, and I just was thrown by, but I don't remember being thrown by Kate Redding, and like I read the entire Natural History of Dragons series, which is Kate Redding, so I don't.
oh, she does those?
Yeah, and it's different. Like she uses a very British voice, so it's very different from what she does in Wheel of Time because I feel like she uses a more American accent.
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
Still, I really like her voice.
Yeah, well, it was lovely.
I forget Andy Serkis. Which books does he narrate?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, but wait, those are not the ones I listen to, is it? Are they?
It just came out. These are very new Lord of the Rings.
Okay,
audiobooks.
yeah.
So I listened to he did The Hobbit, which I listened to in October. Yeah. And then me and Stephanie have the buddy read on Shelf Space for Fellowship of the Rings. So
I'm excited.
I think I will use the audiobooks again.
Yeah, because I read them from Rob Inglis. That's who it was.
Yeah.
I want to do an audiobook reread of Lord of the Rings one of these years. So I'm excited Andy Serkis has some out because he's very talented.
Yeah. The Gollum. They're just...
Well, he's also just in other things that you like forget. That's Andy Serkis. Like no one remembers that he's like, I think he's in Black Panther of all movies, like.
That's funny. Yeah, I have mine from my library and they're not the Andy Serkis editions.
They're on
I don't know
Script.
if they're Audible exclusive. Or
Oh,
not.
are they?
I don't
Andy
know.
Serkis ones are on Scribd. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll go that way instead then.
Yeah. At least that's where I listened to The Hobbit, and I believe they were all on there.
I like Scribd.
Me too.
I go through phases. But I think that's like normal for me with audiobooks, that I'll listen to quite a few and then I won't listen to any for ages and then I'll start listening to them again. Like it's just depends on the mood.
They have a lot of romance on there.
They have a lot of YA too.
Yeah, they do.
I just get all my audiobooks from my library, and if it's not at my library, it tends to not happen. The only audiobooks I purchase are for Malazan because they're not available like anywhere. They're on Scribd, but at that point I would just rather have them for reread options. And if you buy a Kindle at the same time, it's like $4 for the audiobook.
I have started to do that a little bit. I don't like reading ebooks, honestly, but it is cheaper to buy the ebook and the audiobook than to just buy the audiobook. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll have the ebook, but I want the audiobook.
How do you do that? Because I don't know if my Kindle has that option. So how do you, when you buy your Kindle book, you get the audio along?
There'll be an option there, and it's like add audible narration for whatever the cost
don't
is.
think
And
mine
usually
has
it's like $7.49 tends to be the most common one. But every once in a while you'll find them where it's like add audible narration for like $3.99 or something. And so
Yeah, I don't know if that's only a US deal. It might not
No,
be.
I've seen it on the UK thing.
I'm
But
on
your
the French
library
one,
seems to
so
be much better for options.
What is
yeah, we have a
dumb
lot.
is like on the Kindle Oasis, they have audiobooks you can listen to it on now, but you can't listen and read at the same time. And like, why would I listen to an audiobook on my Kindle? I have a whole phone.
Right. Yeah. Like you have to be able to do it together or it's kind of pointless,
So
in
it's
my opinion,
weird.
for a Kindle.
Yeah,
to have
I do
audio.
love my Kindles though. I converted when I went on enough vacations to really sunny places. It's just I kept hating getting my books wet and sandy at the beach and stuff.
I
like
mean, my copy of Jade Legacy is crying.
Yeah.
I was just a bit too, however delicate I tried to be with it, suddenly the spine was just like off, and then it was just a downward spiral. And then the next book that I was reading, I was like, right, okay, it's not going to happen again. And then I thought, like, I was near the end of the book. I was like, this book has actually done quite well. We're holding it quite well. And then the first like 10 pages just fell out of it, and I was like, oh.
No.
What's
Okay.
it might not be sunscreen, but there is something happening to that glue binding.
I was
That's
like,
crazy.
what? The rest of the book looks absolutely fine, apart from those first few pages that just decided that they didn't want to be part of the book anymore.
maybe it was Fall of Babel, and those 10 pages should have fallen out of the book. That would have been good.
No, that one didn't come with me on holiday.
It didn't make the cut. I like taking physical books, so I don't know why, but I just like having them when I go to the beach. Just like I have my book. I don't know. It's a thing. But.
Yeah, I think it was when I went to Dominican Republic. It's like I would have 2 weeks of reading, and 2 weeks of reading back then for me was going to be 4 or 5 books. Now it would probably be even more than that. I'm like, I can't pack that many books. I don't have suitcase space.
I
So-
do pack that many. That's the terrible
So do
thing.
I.
Well,
And
that's
it's
when I
always
bought a
such
Kindle
hard
Paperwhite
decision
because it
of
doesn't
how
glare
many
in
you
the sun.
take. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to not bring enough books, but also like I've got to think about the weight of the suitcase. But what happens if I run out of books?
That's what's great about the Kindle. You literally can have 20 books.
But is there a Kindle where you can listen and read at the same time? Do they have
Yeah,
that?
you can do that
feature?
with their so not with the Paperwhite or the Oasis. You can do it with their tablet versions. But I don't like I had a tablet version and I didn't like that because then you get sun glare. It's like an iPad or something. It's like your phone.
Right,
It's,
right.
it's like that.
So you
I
might as
don't
well
like
get an
the new one.
iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same as using an iPad essentially. Except not as good because it's a Droid tablet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to get a tablet, you'll get one that has a lot more features than just a Kindle.
Yeah. But no, that's why I like the Paperwhites though. I don't use them for their waterproof qualities though.
I mean, I like to do that too. It depends where you're going. Like,
Yeah.
If it's a
Dominican
different,
Republic isn't really a book buying location, but if I was going to like a city destination,
Yeah.
I almost bought a book in Spanish when I was in the DR, but they only had like translations of like Twilight and like Divergent and stuff like that when I was at a Target-ish equivalent.
I actually bought The Shadow of the Wind when I was in Puerto Rico because it was originally written in Spanish. And so they had like the original Spanish version, even though like the Spanishes are different, obviously, but they had it in like the original Spanish edition. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So I did buy that.
I have that in Spanish as well.
I don't know Spanish well enough to read that type of a book in
No,
Spanish. But
I started reading it in Spanish and it was taking me so long to read it. I was like, this is just a little bit too complicated for me.
Yeah.
So I got it in English and finished it in English.
Yeah. Like I feel like I
have-
could read a simpler book, but not that one.
I have a John Green book in Spanish because he writes in such simple sentence structures in English. I'm like, I could probably do this.
Yeah.
It's like Fault in Our Stars.
The Shadow of the Wind, though, is not like simple sentence structure.
No.
It's like a literary fiction.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that book so much.
It's on Ryan's TBR for the year, so maybe I'll read it if he likes it.
You haven't read it?
No.
I think you might like it. It has a really nice writing style, and I feel like you appreciate that type of stuff. So
Like I said, if he likes it, if he's like Angela, I think you would like it. I'll probably read it.
I feel, I feel like you'd like it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It does
but
have
my-
like some elements where we were talking about like the mystery thing where you can not like a mystery, but I feel like there's enough outside of the mystery that you would like.
Well, I mean, so I just don't like mystery plot arcs that are like straight up just like there's a whole mystery genre, right? With detective mysteries, and there's a whole genre fiction thing, and I don't like the formulaic ones if that's the only thing happening in the book.
Right. I don't like those either. Like the CSI type.
Yeah, when they
mystery
feel like
books.
very procedural or
Yeah.
cozy mysteries. Like there's whole subgenres of the genre. Like it's very well loved, and it's just not my favorite thing right now. I read them a lot as a kid. Maybe that's it.
Okay.
I
was-
read that. I read that in Spanish.
I was working on the audiobook of that, and it was going pretty well. But then I got bored, and then I just never picked it up again.
I was trying to read it in Thai because I actually brought back the entire series when we came back from our honeymoon, and it was taking me forever.
Oh, I would do that this summer. I would join.
Yes,
I have a
I do wanna
copy of
do
the
the-
Gollum and
yes.
the Ginny.
I really do. I absolutely love it, the Gollum and the Genie. So you want to join?
Sure, yeah, I have a copy that my coworker got me, so I should really read it because she got it for me like 2 birthdays ago.
Oh, that's so nice, though.
Oh yeah, no, she's my coworker who like has this. She's my lab mom. Like she's actually the age of my actual mother, and they've met and they like each other because they're like the same person. And and just like my real mom, whenever I read a book, I'm like, you have to read it. Like when I read the first chapter of The Sword of Kaigen, I made both of them pick it up. It's like I've only read 1 chapter, but you guys must read this. And I do that with a lot of books. But she read the entire Realm of the Elderlings series in 2 months. So I question her mental health.
Woman, do you know how many books that is?
I do. That's what happens when you only read 1 series.
How can you?
Did she read it? Did she just read that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, that's still actually a lot of books because they're not short.
No,
Mm-mm.
I know. We went through the math and I was like, why did you only do this? She's like, well, none of my
Yeah,
shows
right.
were on. Because it was summer. She's like, well, none of my shows were on, and like the baseball game would just be on, and I would just be reading. I stayed up too late a lot.
I get that. When my husband turns on the sporting games, a lot of times I'll read a book. Like I'll watch too, but there's so much downtime, especially in like football and baseball, where you can read in between like anything actually happening.
Yeah. But no, I was like, that's a lot. I was impressed.
That is so impressive. I'm in the Rain Wild Chronicles right now. And
My mom-
they're shorter, but
I had my mom read only Live Ship because I knew Farseer would be too sad for her because I know what she does not like in her books. And
Fair.
so I had to read Live Ship though because it's so good. And then she's like, I'm going to read the Rain Wild Chronicles next. I'm like, okay, but everyone says that you shouldn't and no one likes it as much. And she loves it. She's having a great time.
good. I don't.
Yeah, I just told her, and I was like, also, I'm pretty sure after Live Ship, they say you're supposed to read the other ones to have world building context, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to actually get all the connections and the world building and the magic and all that type of stuff, yeah, you'll need to read them all. But I don't think it really matters unless you actually want that aspect of it. If you just want to read the books and like you don't have to, you're not really going to miss a whole ton plot wise.
Yep.
I mean, I
that's
know
what she's
like
doing.
Katie at Brighton as Katie Reads, she read, well, she didn't like Assassin's Apprentice, so
Yep.
she then read all of Live Ships, and then she just kept going in the line, except she then went back at the end. She read everything until she
Then
went back
read the
and
first
reread.
one.
I know.
Yeah,
That
she
was
just laughed.
crazy. And she
But honestly,
likes
that's
Rain
probably
Wild,
the best
though.
way to do it because Assassin's Quest, I hear, makes so much more sense once you finish the rest of the series.
It does, but it's kind of cool going into it without knowing that, I feel. But also, like, I don't think you'd want to read it. I don't know if you want to read it kind of like as a prequel later. So, like, you know how some authors do that where they write their whole series and then write prequels?
Mhm.
Like, you could do it like that.
I mean, I've just been reading them in order. The Poor Assassin's Quest was read at the same time as The Great Hunt. And so I was just really bored by 2 books for a very long period of time until both of those books were finished. And this was back when I only read 1 book at a time. It was before BookTube. This was just like normal. Well, I have to finish this book.
Before I can move
I'm
on to the
going
next
to-
one. Like a normal person.
Well, I'm going to attempt the live ships after my not liking Assassin's Apprentice so much, and I'll read. If I enjoyed that, then I'll read that trilogy, and then I'll see how I feel about where I go.
I'm
You
starting after I
should.
finish Daughter of Stone and Bone. I'm starting Mad Ship because it's been so long, and I just want to go back and.
But Joanna, I thought you were reading Liars Not Next.
No, because
Or
the audiobook
Crescent
only
City.
comes out. Oh yeah,
in
Crescent
March
City,
or
nah.
April or something.
Yeah, the audiobook of Liars Not only comes out in like on the 22nd of March. I pre-ordered it, and I need the audiobook because I love the audiobook of Mask of Mirrors so much. Like I cannot go now without her narrating that book. And so finishing this, and then I'm gonna read this because I've been missing these characters so much and this world, and just I need to.
It's great.
I can't wait. And I heard, without saying the name of the character, I was talking to Jimmy and I was like, I hear that one of the best character developments happens in this. I didn't say even whom I thought it was, and he's like, I think I know who you're talking about. And yes, it's amazing. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Okay.
I love that series.
Are we ready to keep going?
Sure.
Let's.
Another 30? Or should we do 34 to get to the...
I feel like I'm talking to Klaus now. It's 33 in a few, so.
Well, just sprinting until a round number.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think Abby's super into her book.
I was trying to finish the page. Fine, I won't finish my page. Yeah, that was a very good sprint, and there were moments where I was like, I need to stop, but I need to keep reading, but I also need to stop because things were happening.
Oh God. How far are you? Do you have now left? How much?
I'm at 560 of 720 odd.
Nice.
Yeah.
My book says I have an hour and 40 minutes left. Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Progress has been made.
Well, it makes sense. We started with 3 hours left, and I think we have read for about the differential.
That's true.
That
I
is
couldn't
true,
remember
yeah.
if it was our second or third sprint. I was like, wait, what's which?
Right, because we've read for an hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Sophia knocked out 50 pages. That's impressive.
What
Yeah.
speed are you reading at? Like
Right?
3?
I think she goes at 2.5 or something.
Well, I mean, I'm reading mine at 2.2, and I can do a page a minute, but it's Malazan, I guess. But yeah.
Oh,
I go
you're
at-
lazy.
3 to 3.5 when I immersion read. But if I'm reading like just on my own,
3 to 3.5.
when I'm like reading at the same time as listening, I can't do it
That's
when
insane. Even when you're
Yes.
at the same time. No.
That means you have a very fast reading speed, which I commend you. But
Seriously.
I'm like, I feel like I
2.2,
don't when I'm just
2.5 is
reading
as much as I
normally
can push.
though. Like when I don't have the audiobook, I feel like I don't read nearly as fast.
Yeah, I have clocked it. I have a normal reading speed. Like I read a normal pages per minute, of words per minute. I have looked
Yeah.
because BookTube has made me wonder, and I'm
I
normal.
wonder about these things as well because there are some people that seem to be able to read very, very quickly.
Yeah,
I
some
think
people can.
I think I'm roughly like a page a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the page, but
No, I mean so there's 3 or 4 types. There's the people who like sub-vocalize, and that's like a little bit slower, but it's not as slow as people who have to like really analyze each word. And then there's people who can straight up make a picture, don't even have to translate it into a word. They see the word and it becomes a picture, and those are the people who can read like super fast.
Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
those people. I don't see pictures really when I read, unless I go
Same.
really slow and like make myself do it. But it's really hard for me to do that. I don't really see mental pictures.
No, I get different things. I smell, I feel, I have emotional visuals. Like there are visuals, but they're not pictures. It's other things. When I want pictures, I watch TV.
But yeah, I think it really does depend on the book you're reading. Like this book, I'm reading slower because I mean, there's lots of words per page.
Yeah, like compared to this, for example, that has,
Like
Yeah.
if it's got larger font and lots of dialogue, you can read it a lot quicker. And generally YA ones as well, whereas a big epic adult fantasy is going to be a lot slower. And the thing is, in this, because of some of the dramatic things that were happening in this last sprint, I was having to pause to digest.
yeah.
I couldn't just keep reading. I had to have digestion time.
I had that with Mask of Mirrors. I kept on
Guys.
going back. Wait, what?
This is Ryan and Pootow right now.
Oh, kitty.
That's a big cat. Wow.
So pretty.
Yeah. It's a big lazy day here. I just wanted to share it. Sorry.
I love your cats.
I know.
The cutest is when she does videos and then the cat starts playing with her fingers and I cannot listen to anything she says. I'm just like, your cat is too cute. Too cute.
He gets banished from the room these days because he's obnoxious and will talk back. And
Oh,
it bothers me.
hello.
Do not ruin my sweater with these cats.
Alright, fair.
I just made it.
Yeah.
Needs to last a few months before the cats ruin it.
Are your cats indoor cats or also outdoor?
Yeah, even when we lived in a suburb, they were never outdoor cats, and especially in the city.
Mm-hmm.
People people crash bottles on streets. They leave their cigarettes and vapes everywhere.
Oh,
Like,
no.
no.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no. He does have very, very visual scenes. Like we are in some battles right now, and it's It's different than his other battles because of the point he's trying to make, but the sorcery is just like it's almost biblical, like in the tornadoes and stuff like that, and the things that are in it. It's really striking.
I think for me it depends on how well into the book as well, like how fast I'm reading and how I'm visualizing it. It depends on how engrossed I am.
Yeah.
Like if I'm really engrossed in the story, like if I'm completely addicted to it, then I'll be reading it fast because I'm going to want to know what's going to happen next. I'm going to be so compelled to keep reading it, and I think I'm going to be more like caught up in that book and that story, as opposed to if I'm not so invested, then my mind might be thinking about other things, and then suddenly I'm realizing that I'm having to reread the same passage again.
Yeah, for sure. With the visualizing things, I visualize settings and I visualize things, but I don't visualize people. So every time someone draws a character, I'm like, oh,
I know fan art. I can never recognize fan art.
No, I'm like, who are you again? Oh, yeah.
Well, in some books, you have to be really better at that. Like with Malazan, I don't visualize them, but a lot of like the hints are in the descriptions where it's like, oh, you're supposed to make this connection that they're this species. So it's more like I have to keep track of skin colors for like if I want to find those connections, which I'm like not used to categorize. I don't normally categorize that in my brain. I'm like, whatever skin color. I don't care. But yeah.
Me too. It's true.
Yeah, exactly what Matt says. I don't visualize faces at all. Sometimes I get like completely the wrong idea. Like for some reason, I think this character is black, and then they're like, and then her freckles and her red hair. I'm like, oh crap! I've been black this whole time. Whoops.
The thing is, I had the same thing with, I think it was Leviathan Wakes, where I was like, there was no description. For me, maybe I missed them, but I was like, none of these characters have descriptions. Like these could be anybody. And which I really struggled with the descriptions in that book. And then when I saw like the trailer for the TV show, I was like, wait, that person looks like that? Like, no, that person looked completely different in my head.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Sometimes it's fun though, like so specifically for like the Witcher series, I only picked it up after seeing the trailer for the show. I'm like, okay, that looks dope and like my type of fantasy, which it is completely like Monster Hunter. That's my thing for that type of fantasy. And so when I've read that series, that character has always been that person. Like it's always been Henry Cavill for me. Yeah, so that person gets it. And sometimes nowadays I'll try and pick actors while I'm reading when I need to keep track of people. Okay, you're this person from this movie.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
If you
Instead of so I don't create anyone, I just pick people.
Just randomly.
It's not even like perfect casting. Like it's not even like it would be a cool idea. Like I thought this was the perfect actor. It's like, no, they vaguely reminded me of these descriptors.
No, he has dark hair.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think of him as a blonde. It's really always jarring to me whenever I see fan art. I'm like, oh yeah, right.
I never realized he was that much older than Vin, you know? And I kept on thinking they were the same age-ish, but then I'm like, no.
He's in his 30s. She's a teen. Yep.
Yeah.
I would give Kelsey like a brunette hair. Like not dark, but maybe like my sort of yours.
Yeah.
It's honestly just the least memorable part of him for me. Like I'm just like, maybe
like
I never gave him hair. I just didn't care.
I rarely say that about people.
You know, whereas Adolin, I find like you think of him as like this blonde dude.
And well, then you see fan art for him. It's interesting how many people do blonde and black, and because he's both blonde and dark because of his mother. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like some people put more of the blonde, some people put more of the brunette, some people do 50-50. And I'm like, I don't.
But I sometimes when I see character art, I'm like, which character is this? What series is this from?
I'm like that all the time.
That's very pretty, but who are you of?
Unless they have like the mist cloak, and I'm like, Vin. Got it.
Then I know what she looks like because she was on the cover of the books.
It's true, yeah.
Well,
that's why Harry Potter books, it's very nice. They put like all the characters on there. You're like, I got this.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when I started getting into like Throne of Glass and Game of Thrones, and then I would see fan art of like Manon or of Daenerys, I sometimes didn't know who was who. I had to look at their nails because of the iron nails. Otherwise, I was like, is this Daenerys or is this Manon? I'm not sure.
Wait, Manon has similar hair to Daenerys? Because I think I always made her a brunette.
Oh, she has like white hair, doesn't she, or like blonde hair or something?
I believe you. I'm not saying I was correct.
I'm not sure. No, wait.
Because it's the person with the flying
Yeah,
dragon-like things, right?
yeah,
They
which
have a
is
different
why they
name. Wyverns.
Yes.
So are we basically saying that authors may give characters descriptions and we just ignore them and put them however we
Yeah, no,
want
that
in
is
our own
not how I
heads?
saw her.
She's
No,
hot.
she was a brunette. She was still sexy, but she was like brunette to gray hair.
And literally, if you remove the claws, she could be Daenerys Targaryen.
A little bit.
That's
yeah.
true.
You know,
Yeah.
especially when they're with the dragons. I'm like, Daenerys, Manon. I don't know. You tell me. I love how you thought she was a brunette, and I'm like, oh, she's a.
But I have been trying to get better at reading when authors tell me things. But you did not used to be a priority.
I feel like it's still not for me. I'm just like, if it's important, they'll remind me.
I think for me, it became a thing. I think what really made me be like, I need to be better about this, but also authors need to be better about it, was I was reading Ninth House. And there's a black character in Ninth House, but you wouldn't know until the last third of it when he makes a comment going, I guess the house is racist. And I'm like, you've been black this whole time? Like, and like,
true.
part of it is maybe there was a thing, I should have picked it up, but also if it was a thing, it was once, and it was in Connecticut, and he was a police officer, and I was just like, there would be more in your personality and character. Like, all you do is just complain about this student. And I was so like, I was annoyed. So then I was like, well, I want to do my part and pay more attention, but I want authors to do their part and be better. Not just offhandedly do things like that.
Yeah.
I did like Ninth House, though. I don't know if we'll ever get a sequel. I don't really know
I
what's
mean, it's
happening
been
there.
years.
At this
We'll
point, I
never
doubt
get a sequel. She's too into her Grishaverse. I don't know why she even started the Ninth House, because she is so into the Grishaverse. Like that's her baby, which is fine, but don't tease us like that.
Yeah.
It's a really like rough ending to a book to like not have like the sequel ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least not even plans to write it. You know?
And, like, have we got any news on it?
She
No.
said she might start it in a couple years, is last I heard.
Oh.
But it came out in like 2019. I mean, I loved it, but like it's been years now.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I think I found something. Maybe.
I don't think she's done with the Grishaverse because she's writing a sequel, like another Six of Crows book.
Yeah.
But why?
And
We
she's
don't
super
need
into the TV show. Like she's very involved in that as
Good
well.
for you. Give us Ninth House.
I
Ugh.
know.
And why does there need to be a third Six of Crows book?
It
Like,
doesn't.
why?
There does not.
Because it ends. It's a duology. It's finished.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you going to get out of the third book?
I don't want to read a third book. I don't want to read it because I don't want it to be bad.
Yeah. I'm so scared
saw-
to read the duology though. What is it? King of Scars duology?
King of Scars.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
so
haven't
scared.
Yeah,
read
people
yet.
don't seem to like that. I don't have strong
No.
opinions. So apparently, June of 2021, she mentioned that she was going to be working on the sequel for Ninth House.
Well,
I don't know
must
what
have
that
seen
means.
before that.
Different authors have different like writing speeds and stuff.
Yeah, but there's like, oh yeah, I've started thinking about it to actually having
Yeah.
words on a
Like,
page.
are you seriously working on it? Is this your project, not like a side thing? You know? I don't know. I feel like it'd be nice to know at least.
Yeah.
At least her be like, this is not a priority. It's probably not going to happen for another 5 years. At least then I know it's not going to happen for another 5 years type thing.
Well, I guess luckily, well, I mean, obviously, who knows if it'll happen, but Amazon Studios picked up Ninth House for a show. So hopefully that'll encourage her to spend more time in that world and maybe be inspired to work on it.
Because wasn't it meant to be quite a big series as well?
Yeah, that's what
I've heard that she wanted to make it several books. I don't know if that's true or not because I don't follow her, but I've heard someone say that she wanted it to be more than just a duology or trilogy.
I mean, because it can be in that urban fantasy scape of like, you know, how urban fantasy series can have like, 10, 20, whatever
Right.
Mhm.
books in it. Be very procedural, serialized sort of thing.
Those authors
know
don't
what that-
get out like a book every few months, though, it seems, when they have like those 20-book series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying she has a good plan, but she's rich, so what is she gonna do?
Right. I mean, she doesn't, but I don't know. I'd like to know. I like it when they at least tell us, like Brandon Sanderson, when he's like, you know what, once I finish the fifth storm, like, it's gonna be a while before you get the next one. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like at least you're honest with me. You got a plan. But then there's like George R. R. Martin,
so
Pat Rothfuss.
transparent.
Yeah,
He's
every
like,
year they're like,
this is what I'm doing. I'm working on this.
Yeah.
Then we're getting this. Then you're getting this.
So this article seems to think that in 2022 we have a second book on the way. So maybe 2023.
maybe. I'm not holding my breath.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Stop
Guys,
it.
give up. Give up.
Yeah, well, I've given up. And even if Winds of Winter comes out, Dream of Spring is never coming out.
Yeah.
And if Dream of Spring comes out, he'll never finish the Dunk and Egg stories, which I love. So I've given up on him.
thing is, if it was back in 2012, 2013, when I read A Song of Ice and Fire, at that point, I would have loved Winds of Winter because I was like in the thick of it. Now, I don't know if I have that strong of a desire to reread everything to continue because I don't know how I would feel about the series if I read it now, and I have fond memories of it, and I don't want to lose those fond memories.
True.
I understand, but I know I love him, but yeah, I understand how that could. You'd be like, well,
Yeah. I didn't read any of them.
I don't know how much he's put it. Like now, I feel like I would be like, but how much effort did you actually put in? Not effort, but like, how much do you still care about as an author?
Are you phoning it in or something like that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like if I saw lots of rave reviews for Winds of Winter and positive response to it, if it ever came out, then that would probably tempt me.
Yeah. I think for me, like I only read it because of the show. It wasn't a fantasy series that I would have ever picked up for my taste because of how low magic it is and just what it wants to do. It's a project, which is, I think it does a good job of what it's doing. So then when we haven't gotten a book in so long, and I haven't really liked the book since the third one, I'm just like fifth one was fine, but I read the fifth book the same summer that I read Words of Radiance, I reread Way of Kings, and I read Name of the Wind and Not Wise Man's Fear all in the same summer, and then I read Dance of Dragons, and I'm like, you are shorter than some of these books. You are so dense, and nothing is happening. And he does this thing whenever something cool happens, he's like, next chapter, and you might not get that point of view again. And then Winds of Winter isn't happening. So bye.
Oh, rude.
Do we want to do a final sprint?
Yeah, we can do that. I did this one last time instead, so.
Oh, you swapped.
I did. I swapped. And it's weird because reading Grace of Kings and then switching to Zodiac Academy, like I am not dissing on like new adult writing whatsoever. It's not like that. But oh my gosh, it felt like going from like a textbook to like a little kid book. It was insanely different, the writing styles. It's fun though. Like it's fun in its own right. Nice. But it's so different.
It must be a jarring change of pace.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
So I'm gonna grab my snack, but you can start the sprints and I'll just join in.
A final 30 minutes. So sprint until 20. Hello.
I have read a lot of this book today. Like, I read it before we did these sprints, but I think I've read 220 pages of this book today.
Wow.
Nice.
The same for me, because I was reading this as well. I read like 230 pages today, which is a lot of a book.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're probably going to finish it tonight, right? You're so close.
No. No, my brain's a bit read out, I think, for the evening. I might read one more chapter, and then I'll have like 100 pages to read tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I'm just saying, you only have like 2 hours left. It's only 10 where you are.
I feel like reading 230 pages might be like my near my cutoff point for the day.
That only sounds reasonable, but I'm just trying to be a bad influence.
You're like, you should be reading 350 pages in a day, Abby.
Yeah. Man, that's a lot.
I
For
want
me,
to like appreciate the ending and
that's fair.
thoroughly enjoy it instead of reading it really tired and after having already read a lot.
170 during the sprints. That's nice.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. I think mine would be closer to like, how many we do? We did like 130 minutes ish. I don't know.
Australia.
I think I'm closer to 120 pages.
Australia is waking up.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
That's crazy.
Nice.
You are so speedy, Sophia.
She is. She reads so fast.
Also, I like your new logo, Sophia, but I keep forgetting that it's you. I miss your old one because I was so conditioned by it for years.
Yeah.
It's true.
I think I read, I can't remember what I started on, maybe like 110 pages
Doing our sprints?
during the sprints, yeah.
Yeah, nice. I also read a lot today. I read 125-ish pages of The Mask of Mirrors and 100 and almost 20 pages of this. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy. I need
I've
to
been
step
loving
up my
reading
game.
again. I don't know what's going on, but lately I'm like, reading, yes.
You're in good books.
Yeah.
Thing is, I'm in a reading yes, but work has been killing me during the week. And so
Yeah.
then when I finish work, I'm just like, oh, I've got to cook dinner. Oh, and now it's like 9:30 and reading? What? No.
Yeah.
So I went from
Yeah.
through like 100 pages in an evening, and now I'm like, okay, you got to 50 pages, Abby. That's a success.
Julie,
Yeah,
what are you
actually-
crocheting? I love crochet projects.
Wait, you knit, you crochet?
Yeah.
Do you also do cross stitch? Wait, cross stitch.
I have done one cross stitch. I would say that I have the most projects done in crochet, but I have been enjoying learning knitting the past 2 years.
Nice.
Nice. Crochet is
fun.
something I tried, but I just couldn't do it for some reason. Like cross stitching, I know how to do, but crocheting, I was always getting bamboozled for some odd reason. So
My current thing is, so this sweater's done, except I have to sew on buttons, but I don't know how to sew.
But buttons are quite
Buttons
easy.
are easy.
I
Yeah.
don't-
to
yeah,
make
so
a
I
whole
know the
sweater.
middle part. I understand the middle part of putting the button on, but I don't really know. I have to look into. There are basics with sewing, right? Like how you start with the thread and how you end with the thread to make sure things don't unravel. Like
Mhm.
basic techniques that I don't have, so I have to look.
Ooh, I bet you could totally YouTube it.
I tried, and it's just some YouTubers are just better than others, or some people will have 30-minute videos. It's like I just want like a 5-minute thing.
Right.
So, and also a lot of them do it on normal cloth, and it's a little different with knit because you want to like have it between threads. I'll do it. It's just it's much easier for me to just do the actual knitting part.
And I guess you're like, it's the final stage. You want it to look good as well. You don't want to have a
Yeah, and
dodgy-
also it's like I'm barely going to use the buttons. Like I made buttonholes; those were made.
That's
Really
cool.
Buttonholes, little buttonholes. But
That's awesome.
It's awesome that you made that. Yeah.
this sweater is brought to you by Ted Lasso. And I don't
Oh
know what
my
other
gosh, I
books-
love Ted Lasso.
I was watching a lot of Ted Lasso while I
I
made
haven't
this.
watched it yet, but the football team is based in Richmond, isn't it? which is just like a couple of miles down the road from me.
Nuh-uh.
You
Oh
should
my
tell
gosh,
us if it
that's so
feels
cool.
accurate. They're in that neighborhood like all the time. I don't know if they filmed it.
That's the thing. Part of me wonders if I watch it, if I'm just going to be watching it going, well, no, that's not how it's like. That's not what like my surroundings are like.
I feel like you kind of get that. Like Yellowstone is based like up where I'm from, the TV show Yellowstone. But they film most of it down in Utah, so it's weird. And so I'm like, no. But
we have talked about watching it and seeing what it's like. Because, but there is no Richmond football team as far as I know. That's
probably why they picked it. So it was a fake team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. So I'm from Cleveland, and Cleveland is always cheaper to film in. So they always film New York or Washington, D.C. scenes in Cleveland. And so I'll sometimes watch a movie and be like, oh, I know where we are here, and that's this mall, and you're pretending to be Germany right now.
Brittany, we must live really close to each other. We're going to be like neighbors.
Oh, that's cool.
It's probably like the flat next to you and you don't know.
You don't even know it. You're just both on the same stream.
Brittany, I'll message you.
Hello.
Vinland Saga. Ooh,
nice.
Cool.
Also, this is a knit sweater for whoever was asking. It's knit, not crochet, because it's got cables. You can't really do cables in crochet. That's why knitting is kind of superior.
Fancy terms.
It's not my term. It's anything Irish or something. I don't know.
That is the stressful thing about about when you have books out from the library and then suddenly they're due back and you haven't finished them, and
especially when they're on your like audiobook on your phone and then they just disappear. You're like, aw, sad day.
With ebooks, I put them in my library jail. Like I'll put on airplane mode so I can keep ebooks forever. Audiobooks, I do have another phone, like my old phone, and I've thought about like locking them on the phone so I have them for longer.
Oh my gosh,
airplane mode.
Yeah, but I haven't had to quite do that for audiobooks. For ebooks, I do it all the time. The pandemic made it really bad. I used to only have like a few at a time, and then it's like 20.
I just got really bad at returning books to the library because they stopped the fee during COVID, and then I just forget about them, and then suddenly I was like, I've had this book for so long, I really need to return it to the library now.
I don't think my library has fees, like late fees.
That's nice.
Mine doesn't really anymore. I think they brought back due dates, but they didn't bring back fees. And like I know my grandmother's town just got rid of fees even before the pandemic because it would cost, I think, more money to process fees than you'd get from fees.
Yeah, and they found that it didn't really help. Like if people were gonna keep the books, they were just gonna keep the books and they didn't care, apparently. Like they did research into it. And so, yeah, my library got rid of the fees a long time ago as well. I mean, they have due dates, and obviously anything that's electronic, they can just take back. But
yeah, well, and like even when I did look at how much it cost for due dates, like they weren't like, especially in Boston, they weren't trying to like stop people from having books. It would be like 5 cents a day, or a maximum of $3 back when there were, it wasn't like,
I do remember my mum having to buy some of the books from the library. So I've got old library books at home from when I was a kid. And because the thing is, I just took the books everywhere. And they belonged to me. They were no longer the libraries. They were mine. Like they came in the bath with me and everything. Like,
yeah, based off your vacation reads, you probably destroyed them.
Sounds like it. I mean,
it got to the point where my mum was like, I can't return these to the library, Abby. You have destroyed these books.
I'm embarrassed returning these to the library.
Yeah, she'd like taped them together and everything.
Oh my gosh, Abby, how do you do that? Like I find my books everywhere too.
I mean, I must have been like 5.
Okay, fair enough.
They were like picture books.
But now you're not 5, and still your books get trashed.
Right?
No, my books are kept in a perfect condition, apart from when I take them to the beach.
So cute. Whenever we hang out and we go to Spain together, I'm gonna watch you read at the beach and be like, now I understand.
I don't think I read like when I'm on holiday, I read it exactly the same way as I read at home, except the sun and the sun cream just, I don't know.
It has to be your sunscreen. Your sunscreen's like killer. It must do something to like the glue and the colors and things.
Joanna's just cackling down there.
I just like imagine like I be like slathering sunscreen all over.
I burn.
Well, yeah, you
Me
need to wear
too.
sunscreen. I don't want you to stop to save the books.
Like I don't know what I do, like the sunscreen, maybe the pina coladas and the mojitos. I don't know.
We're going down to Vegas next month, and I swear, whenever we go down there, we get like the giant drinks. And just anywhere we go, we have these giant ones. And I love the pina colada one. It's so good.
Exactly. It's the salt in the air. It's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've taken many a book to the beach, and they
Me
come
too.
back maybe not pristine, but at least intact. I mean,
Okay.
Well, I can't read at the beach very long because there are these crustaceans called sand fleas, and I'm really sensitive to them. So if I stay on a beach for more than just going into the water, like if I'm just like laying out, I just come home with all of these bug bites on my ankles.
oh my
and feet.
gosh.
I mean,
And they
I
don't
like
get
that.
that. They're just these tiny, tiny little crustacean bugs.
I do prefer a pool.
But I like when we do go to like places that have pool and beach. It's like I can go into the salt water, say hi, but read at the pool.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, but like I don't. The majority of my books are very well looked after, but then there are a few that just seem to want to break on me. Like my copy of A Winter's Promise is just, I don't know, it's falling to pieces.
Wait, you should read those in French. Your
Yeah,
French
I
is
have.
good enough for
Yeah,
that.
my French edition of it.
Well, I have also heard the later translations are not nearly as good.
I found
I
it.
mean, I've been hearing people who have loved the first book read, I think, the third book, and the translation was bad enough they stopped.
Oh, that's too bad because the books are actually really good.
Okay.
I
Oh, you
actually
have the
did
small
not like the
for
first
you.
one. I stopped.
Okay.
So I had my cousin over, and I was reading this, and then we were talking about it, and I was just like holding the book, and then suddenly
Manhandling it.
Oh my gosh.
Did
But
that
those
go to a
editions
beach?
are flimsy. The folio editions are very flimsy. They're folio, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I was reading it like slower and taking my time with it because it's in French. But I mean, I wasn't like manhandling it or anything, and it's just completely fallen apart. Like
The glue was not good. You can just
there
see
is
that
no
those-
glue.
Yeah.
Why did you not get the really nice? What are they? The ones you know? I don't. No.
We can barely see them. You'll have to
To
show
not
us.
see.
The ones you know, the big ones that I have. Why did you not get those?
Because this is what the bookstore had.
Oh, I'll bring you the big ones. Oh, when you're in Paris, we'll buy them.
Yeah. I mean, I got this in Paris, but this is what the bookstore had.
Because you.
But
need
yeah,
to-
no,
that one
it's
is destroyed.
it suffered a bit.
Yes.
It's
That's
got
not
character.
Is it?
Oh, you can't take it anywhere now, though. It'll just fall apart.
Does it need to go anywhere? It's got
I
its
don't
spot on
know.
the bookshelf.
My books tend to go places.
What, the ones that you've read?
Oh boy.
Yeah, you're probably never going to reread it in French.
No, it was a journey the first time. Right, so I think we will leave it there with sprints. I hope everyone's had a lovely afternoon, evening, morning of reading. If you haven't checked out any of these lovely ladies' channels, they're all linked in the description box if you want to see more of their videos and see what they're up to. And I will see you in my future videos. And thank you all for being here. Bye.
Bye.